Let's play a game called Would You Believe? Would you believe that New England, playing the third hardest schedule in the AFC, will miss the playoffs this year?
I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. I do think they take a step backwards. I mean, listen, they're not going to, they're not going to sneak into this thing like they did last year. Last year, I mean, their schedule was a cupcake schedule. This year, far tougher schedule. We still don't know the component about A.J. Brown.
Right.
That trade I think is going to be possibly a big addition for the Patriots.
We believe he'll be there.
Yeah,
okay. Shefty strongly believes he'll be there.
Yeah, but I think, did they take a step back from last year? Absolutely, yes.
What were you just saying about their schedule?
I'm a big believer always in how the season starts. I always think every game is one game, but that opening game just sets a tone. And if you fall too far behind early on, it always feels like you're playing catch-up, and it takes a lot out of a team. I want to go over New England's schedule early on.
Yeah.
3 of the first 4 games are on the road. And by the way, tough games.
Right?
Yeah.
At Seattle, at Jacksonville, at Buffalo. Look at the records of those teams last year. Now, again, those are tough games. If you're 2-2, you're 1-3, you just feel like you're struggling to play catch-up all year long. And by the way, we think A.J. Brown will be there, but there's a lot swirling around the team right now.
Of course.
There's just a lot swirling around there.
Yeah, that opening game, by the way, is that Wednesday night opener. The Seattle Rays, it's a rematch of the Super Bowl last year. A lot of people thought the Bears were going to be in that spot. The league put the Patriots in that spot. It's that Wednesday night opener. Seattle will raise the banner. Obviously, a lot going on.
It's always difficult to play in that game. I got to play in 2 of those games on Thursday night with the Steelers, and the energy in the building, it feels like another Super Bowl. But when you look at the Patriots, you were coming off of a 4th place schedule last year.
Right.
This year you play the first place schedule. You're going to get the NFC North. We know what the Minnesotas and the Chicagos and the Green Bays can bring to you. And then you also get the AFC West, right? So you have the Denvers, the Kansas Cities. This is a totally different schedule with different expectations. No one thought about Drake May as an MVP candidate or Mike Vrabel as a Coach of the Year candidate or this team being the type of team that could get to the Super Bowl. It's different now. You aren't sneaking up on anyone. I believe they not only take a step back, but in my opinion, the New England Patriots missed the playoffs this year based on this schedule. I know what everybody's going to say. They got 4 wins because they got Miami and they got the New York Jets. But I believe the rest of this schedule make it extremely difficult.
None taken. The term a candidate for regression has become something I hear in the NFL all the time now. Is New England a prime candidate for regression? Are the Bears a prime candidate for regression? We'll see. Sometimes teams take another step forward. The addition of A.J. Brown should make them that much better. I don't know. We'll see. I will believe it. I will believe New England falling apart when I see it.
I still think you have to watch the game.
Yeah.
When you watch the playoff games, offensively, this team really struggled down the stretch against the better playoff teams. How much better does A.J. Brown make them going into the season?
It was the left side of their offensive line that really struggled. The left side of their offensive line got dominated.
New England played a bunch of young players last year.
Yeah.
A lot of young that's going to go into their second year. You should see that growth.
Just one more scheduling note. We talked about 3 of the first 4 being on the road.
Yeah.
That doesn't even include road games later in the season at Chicago, at Detroit, at the Chargers, at the Chiefs, later in the year when Patrick Mahomes will be healthier.
Who gave Shefty this sheet?
This is the best thing ever happened to Shefty.
We've lost Shefty for the day.
It's going to be week 11, and Shefty's going to pull this out on the show.
He's going to have that thing laminated before the day is over. All right,
how do we get this laminated? How do we do that? That's a great idea.
I'll get Jack on that for you. D-Wood, next one. Would you believe that the New York Football Giants, in year 1 under John Harbaugh, will go all the way and win the NFC East?
I would believe it, to be honest with you, because here's what I would say. You saw last year how many, one-score games that they lost. A lot of that could be attributed to coaching. Here's what I like about the Giants. The Giants have some really good players at critical positions. Quarterback, left tackle, pass rushers, wide receiver. Now, we know Malik Neighbors is coming off the injury. We got to see how he tracks as far as coming back off of that. But I like the pieces that the Giants have to work with, and I think the coaching of John Harbaugh will get these guys together.
This is what makes the NFL great. Every year, there are teams that rise up. Every year without fail, that rise up and surprise. Last year, it was New England. They reached the conference championship game. The year before, it was Washington. They reached the conference championship game.
Yep.
What did Washington have? They had a new head coach, Dan Quinn.
Right.
What did New England have? A new head coach. What did both teams have? Quarterbacks, good young quarterbacks. What do the Giants have? New head coach, good young quarterback. I'm not telling you they're going to do it, but I am telling you the elements are in place for them to have that type of season.
I'm going to add to what D. Wood said. They didn't just lose one-score games. They lost 4 games in which they held double-digit leads at one point or another. That's 4 wins that you just basically hand away. If those games go the other way, this was a team that might have been interesting to watch last year. And they lost Neighbors, and they lost Scadaboo. And I thought they had a great draft. At 5-10, I thought, personally, they may have gotten the best defensive lineman and the best offensive lineman in the class at 5-10. I think the Giants are going to be good.
You think the way they started this draft was great, but also look at what they added in the offseason. Isaiah Likely can be an all-pro performer at the tight end position. You add Patrick Ricard. I mean, it's basically like Baltimore North right now.
Right.
But you add Patrick Ricard that adds to the run game and what you can do with Scadaboo. I think some of the underrated moves they made are Malachi Fields.
Yes.
And the third round Notre Dame, a really good player. But you add Darnell Mooney, who at times was the best receiver in Atlanta, and Calvin Austin, who could play the slot. And it's also about keeping Jackson Dart healthy. And when you think about closing games, Greeny, it's about defense. Colton Hood could have been a first-round pick out of Tennessee. You go and you add Arvell Reese or Darius Washington, who was a big piece of Baltimore when he was healthy. Edmonds at the linebacker position. This is a team that can make a run, especially with the favorable schedule.
Everything you said is 100% dead on. But there's one thing that you said that's more important than anything else, and that is the health of Jackson Dart.
Right.
Here's a young quarterback who is evaluated for a concussion 5 times in his first 10 NFL games, including the preseason. 5 evaluations, 10 games. If that rate continues, if these types of hits continue, that's going to be a big problem. And all this progress we're talking about, all this potential goes out the window if he is sidelined.
It's about, that's Matt Nagy and John Harbaugh's #1 priority and job this year is to keep Jackson Dart healthy, but Jackson Dart also has to switch his mindset, which is so difficult for these players. The hit we just showed against the New England Patriots, where he already had the first down, he's running down the sideline. You can clearly see the linebacker, and he gets plastered underneath the bitch.
Play again,
You can't do that.
No.
I don't care how much you need to switch a mindset or whatever it is. This is just smart, intellectual quarterback play to get down and feel and instincts. And Jackson Dart has to adopt that, because if he doesn't, he will not be healthy enough to have a long career in New York.
Yeah, he needs to spend more time on the field and less time in the blue tent. But if he's able to do it, I think he's got that.
Yes.
I think he could be a superstar.
He's a star.
I think he has a chance to be a star. And Neighbors will be back when?
I don't like the sound of that second knee surgery. Now, they are hopeful. They're hopeful that he's going to be back week 1, and this was to clean out some of the scar tissue and address some of the stiffness. But you're talking about a great young wide receiver. He's now had 2 knee surgeries.
Had a conversation with him in Newark Airport a couple of days ago, and he was just talking about the rehab and how hard he had been going at it. And he mentioned the second surgery, and he said it was just to clean some things up. And he's like, now, though, it did have to start over. He's aiming to be ready for week 1. But the one piece of advice I gave him is come back when you're ready.
Right.
Come back when you're healthy, because what you don't want is another setback in this season.
Meanwhile, yesterday, as you are well aware, schedule release day is also every team's social media department's Super Bowl. And yesterday, take a look. What do we think of this one? Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins channeling the movie Step Brothers.
I'm Kirk. I'm Fernando. You're going to have to call me Kirk O'Chains.
Cool. You're going to have to call me the Nandalorian.
Say your favorite football play on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Turbo right, 63 wide shallow. Jinx!
Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
I don't know how good they're going to be playing football, but from a personality standpoint, there was no better pairing than Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
That's a